Yeah, you can start now.
Okay, awesome. I believe someone else also joined. So welcome everyone. We're starting the discussion right now. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself first. I'm Berk. I work for a South Korean-based startup called Nerdy Joy. Nerdy Joy is a startup, an award-winning platform that teaches lessons from nonfiction books. Has a community that will help you with your goals, and also helps you monetize knowledge you gather from nonfiction books. This is a session that is hosted by Nerdy Joy. So yeah, we'll be using the Nerdy Joy book review of Mastery by Robert Greene for the discussion today. So we'll go over all the lessons taught in the book one by one, or the chapters. One by all. We'll go through all the chapters and we'll discuss the points and share some of our stories and comments and whatnot. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll also send the website of Nerdjoy into the chat, so all of you can also register on there and become a member. It's totally free. And I'll also put my email in case anyone wants to suggest a future session. Maybe you want to talk about conflict resolution. We can host the session on that. And yeah, let's get into the discussion if everyone is ready. Any questions or concerns up front? All right. If not, then I guess we can get into it. Now, let's introduce Mastery for to begin. Now, Mastery by Robert Greene analyzes historic figures like Charles Darwin and Henry Ford to determine how they attained success and prosperity. The book offers insight regarding finding your purpose, mastering any field you want, and generally being successful. Who is it for? Anyone interested in finding a purpose in life or attaining success. Anyone that basically wants to learn more about success should definitely read it. Yeah. Before we start, who has read this book before?
No, I haven't read, but this is in my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I came here, like to just have the summary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Robert Greene is an awesome author, and we've taught multiple lessons from his books. And over at Nerdjoy, we've also done tons of book summaries of his books. So yeah, I definitely recommend reading every single book of his because they're all just awesome, and you can learn a lot from him. Yeah. Well, let's dive into chapter one, which is called Discover Your Calling. Basically, about finding your purpose in life. Now, all of us have a purpose slash passion in life. Some could also call it a calling that guides us towards the things that we must accomplish. And it is easier to find your purpose and calling when you are a child, especially because hold on, sorry, yeah, especially because when you grow up, people infect your desires, societal expectations, your parents, your friends, even school. They all affect the desires, the things you want to do, right? Your parents might tell you you should be a doctor. Your grandparents tell you you should be a lawyer. Your friends tell you should be an esports gamer. So you get all these different thoughts and comments from others, and after one point it's hard to actually know what you want because your mind has been polluted by all the desires of other people. So according to Robert Greene, the author of Mastery, he says that if you want to discover your calling in life or your purpose, your passion, whatever, you need to go back to your childhood and remember some of the things you enjoyed, because that is your purest stage in life, right? You're not being told what to do. You're innocent. Your mind is not polluted. It's like a blank page. So you're gonna actually find activities you enjoy. And all, yeah. So it mentions Leonardo da Vinci. who, as a kid, loved to go into the woods and draw some of the trees there, the nature there, the animals, and then he'd also go into study to the. He would study the roots of plants and the science behind them, and that's how he discovered he liked science and drawing, and that made him happy, and so he pursued that all of his life. And so again, it mentions that the source of anyone's unhappiness might be their lack of purpose and connection to who they really are. So you're going to feel that emptiness in you. Yeah, when you lose something that is authentic about you, you become liable to being sad and lost in life. Yeah, going back to your childhood, looking at the things you enjoyed, we can, find things we actually enjoy. But yeah, any thoughts or comments, questions on this chapter? I'm guessing everyone agrees on that, and no
So
one really.
is this book like more on the lines of like spirituality or something? Not spirituality, but more on the lines of finding your purpose and all.
Yeah, well, not quite. It's about attaining mastery. That's the overall purpose of the book. However, every chapter gives you a different stage of how to become a master, right? So the first one is finding the thing you want to become a master at. So that's why it says discover your calling. And then the second chapter is submit to reality. It is about the apprentice. I can't really pronounce the word. It's about the learning phase of your life where you learn some of the fundamentals of the field you want to get in, and you really set yourself up for future success. And then talks about the third stage, the fourth stage. So yeah, that's a general outline of the book.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Yes, I just wanted to come in. I'm Samina here. I wanted to say that yes, the years in the childhood have even shaped my calling, because earlier I didn't know what it was, but recently, and I mean some years back, I discovered that storytelling is my forte.
Hmm.
Because I used to read a lot of storybooks, and my brother used to tell us stories. But what would happen? He would finish it halfway and not give us the ending.
Yeah.
In fun, in just teasing us, and we would run after him and tell him, "Now tell us the ending, tell us the ending," and he said, "No, no, I don't know, I don't know, I just made it up on the spot."
Hmm.
So it has given a lot of sight to imagination and more probing into it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you enjoyed, or I'm glad you found what you enjoy in life. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful thing. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you stay for this session and tell us what you think in your comments, because it's all awesome to hear from you,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
everyone here.
will. Yes, I will.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, if no one else has anything to add, we can get to chapter 2. All right. I'm guessing the silence means no. All right. We can go ahead and skip to chapter 2, or at least move on to chapter 2. So, chapter 2 is about the one of the most critical phases of our lives after our formal educations. This phase, think of this phase as second, more practical education, where you're actually getting experience and learning the practical ways of your industry or your field. Since we're taught to learn from books as children and as students, we never learn practical skills. One example I can give is in entrepreneurship, where it's like you got to have the practical solving problem skills, like or you could rephrase that to just problem solving skills, because especially when you're at the head of a company, you're gonna be you're gonna have to put out fires, and you're gonna have to solve immediate problems, and that requires an ability to think of practical solutions on the spot, and you can't really spend time strategizing. You just gotta think of something and do it. So yeah, those kind of skills are developed in this phase of your life, where you're just getting into the industry. um, right. So, thus, when we reach the age of independence, we're not really ready to face the harsh realities of life because we have no practical skills. And in this phase of our lives, where we're actually getting those practical skills, where we're actually going into our fields, um, and we again cultivate those skills, and set us up and set ourselves up for success and future mastery if we can continue to persevere and do it better than everyone else. Since we're not really sure about our identity, then we might think the important thing in the real world is getting a good job or possibly becoming wealthy. And we might eventually find our way. However, during this period, every time you change your career or develop new skills, you're going to re-enter that phase of your life, which can lead to developing insecurities. So it's important that you narrow down the field or niche you want to go into and really just commit to it, right? Although this is a common pitfall, if that field really annoys you and you just can't find joy in doing it, okay, don't waste your time with it. But if you're like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, stop chasing the money, stop chasing the ideal lifestyle of like the one that's portrayed in social media, where it's like riding private jets, going on Rolls Royces, flying to meetings in again private jets, living a luxury life, staying in 7-star hotels. It's like, if you're gonna go after that, you're gonna keep on changing your career and you're gonna try to develop new skills, and that's really gonna harm you. And as the book states, it's gonna develop insecurities, and it's not fun being insecure. So again, when we look at masters and successful people, we see that they use this time in their lives to absorb as much information as possible and learn everything about their fields. This, neuroscience proves this to us over and over again. There's no such thing as a natural born master. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, these kind of masters in their fields, these guys have worked so hard to absorb information, develop their abilities and skills to a degree where they're actually the best at what they do. There's being mediocre, working hard, and being at a Kobe Bryant level, where you're just, a beast and you're working really hard every hour you're awake, you're spending your time on it. And here's the thing, that doesn't mean you burn yourself out and put yourself in the position where you're constantly stressed. It means that if you truly want to become master, you're going to have to find something, stick to it, persevere, and learn as much as possible to cultivate cultivate the necessary skills as much as possible. Especially with like Elon Musk or Bill Gates, these guys were avid readers in early phases of their lives. And one could assume that through constantly, not just reading, but also constantly learning and absorbing information, being curious, they developed both their cognitive abilities, like problem solving and reasoning, and also their imaginations, their creative powers. So they came to a degree where they just had a dimensional mind. They were masters. They knew a lot and they could do a lot, and they also had practical experiences, right? They had started things before, like Mark Zuckerberg built a few applications, actually a ton of applications. Elon Musk had multiple companies before SpaceX and Tesla. So yeah, this is a very important phase, and yeah, and masters don't generally focus on things like positions, titles, and money, but rather transforming their minds and mindsets. So they, create the fundamentals of their future success in those phases. Any questions or comments or concerns? Any
Yeah, so
story?
am I audible? Yeah. I found like a slightly contradictory view here when you say ki whenever you change something, like whenever you develop a new skill, it's basically you are developing insecurities. And on the other hand, you are mentioning ki there are like Jeff Bezos and the Teslas, which are like trying with a lot of new products. So every new product for an entrepreneur, it's a kind of new skills. You have to do a lot of new kind of different, which is basically creating insecurities in a similar way when I learn a new skills. So the thing is ki, when you say in the previous chapter we say a lot of dreams come from a childhood, but when you go to the practical world, you say a lot of dreams are not really practical what you have seen in the childhood, and you have to adjust. How much adjustment is there, like to get to like what does it mean to submit to reality? When I say submit to reality, it means ki should I forget about everything and submit myself to the reality, or like I should make reality according to my dream?
Mhm. Right. So here's the thing. It doesn't really say that your dreams aren't practical. What it means here is in school, right? Traditional school. What we do is, or in the universities, we're given textbooks, right? The curriculum is designed to teach us through theoric knowledge, right? It's just in theory. But in school, and let me ask you, all of you, I'm asking this to all of you, have you learned any practical skills from school? Maybe like, and you could say no, some could say yes, maybe
If
they
I
learned. Mhm.
if I will tell you ki like I don't know about other country, but we have a like lot of essay writing, like what you want to be become in life, kind of. And I don't think like 99% have people have become what they have written in their school time. If I get some reality, so that's what I'm saying. Ki whenever you are dream of anything in your childhood, it's almost impractical, or when we like grew up, let's say adult age or teenage, then uh, we have to adjust according to the reality. There might be some overlap between the like childhood dreams and the reality, but yeah, adjustment is always there.
Well, I think I'd have to. I, in my personal opinion, aside from the book, I'd have to disagree with that. You mentioned that a lot of people don't, end up becoming where they want to go, and you said I believe you also reside in India, so you mentioned how in India they write, in schools, children write essays about what they want to be in the future. Now, can you tell me how many of those children really work hard, persevere, and constantly iterate to a level where they can actually have actually open the opportunity to become masters in their field? Because I feel like a lot of people, excuse my language, but half-ass what they do. Right? They're like, okay, I'm gonna be a photographer, but then end up binging Netflix through all their time. It's like if you want to be a truly, if you want to be at the Bill Gates level of things, or if you want to be like Elon Musk, you're gonna have to sacrifice those things. And how
uh,
many people are really willing to give that up?
I just wanted to interrupt one thing. Ki, rather than just fighting, it's like there are real issues with the practicality. When I say practicality, so it's a lot of when I talk about the practicality, although I don't go after money, but I need a little bit of money to survive myself. Other than that, like there are also you need to have kind of good tutors, kind of good institute of a photography to be a photographer, which is missing in a lot of part of the world. I'm not just saying in the India, but a good photography school is almost not there in 50 to 60% countries. So that's what I'm saying. Ki childhood dreams may not be practical, and when we grew up, either we have like submit to reality. I'm just questioning the title. Questioning the title means submit to reality means should I give up my dream and go with the reality? And when I say reality, let's say we have a very good engineering college here, a doctor college here, but we don't have a good arts college. So should I go for just engineering and the doctorate, or let's say uh, I should change the reality according to my dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
Yeah, yeah, let me
Yeah.
cover all of your points real quick. With the money one, it does not mean you should just. Well, here's the thing, right? Yes, you do need money to sustain yourself, but when it says money here, it's referring to how people chase like nine jobs that pay 9 grand a year. It's sort of like, or like 7K figure job. It's like people are gonna be chasing those jobs that have really good pays. And this is something that it mentions in the book. It's like, say want to, I don't know, you finish college and you want to get a good job. Now here's the thing: if you start narrowing your options down by the payout of the job, and you find a, say, seven-figure job, or a job with a seven-figure salary, and you're like, oh boy, this is an awesome opportunity, right? You apply, somehow get in, right? Somehow you get in. The problem here is going to be that the people you work with, they have possibly years of experience, and they can actually keep up with the job, but you are there with no fundamentals, right? You have no fundamental, like, how buildings have these pillars to keep them from falling down. It's like you don't have those pillars, you don't have the fundamentals to support you, so it's like you're going to be just like a building that has no pillars, or fundamental, foundation. Foundation is the right word. So when you don't have that kind of foundation, or you don't have those pillars, you're going to just collapse on the ground. And then to your second point, with the good options not being available, I'm gonna again have to personally disagree, because yes, maybe say you live in a remote location in India, yeah, there might not be a good art school, but here's what I have to say. One, in a field like photography, it's really about cultivating skills like mastering the angles, Photoshop, Lightroom, whatnot. And what the internet has brought us is the ability to learn these skills, and the ability to learn these skills and cultivate them without having to pay 50 grand a year to Harvard, or some very, very nice art school. Now I don't really know the university conditions in India, but all I have to say is, all of us, most of us, or at least, have an internet connection, and we all have access to YouTube. So just typing YouTube how to use Lightroom, and then clicking the search button, and watching the videos, you'd be able to develop some pretty good skills. So it's like there's a diversification of those opportunities, and also with the submit to reality part. Honestly, I'm not sure why the chapter is called that. To be totally frank, I'm not, again, very sure. But to your point, those are some of the things I have to say.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the submit to
So,
reality, he's just trying to be like, he's probably trying to say that you need to analyze. Like, first you set out a goal, right? And after you set up the goal, you see in terms of your reality what all resources do you really have. Like, I think Elon Musk also says this thing wherein he, of course, he has such lofty goals, right? And there are so many critics who like literally criticize him, saying that yeah, he's trying to. I was just listening to the podcast called Business Wars by Wondery. It's there on Spotify, and it's basically SpaceX versus Blue Origin. So a lot of multiple, there are these sections wherein there are these VCs and all, who, even after he has achieved already so much with PayPal, Tesla, and all, there are skeptics about his whole Mars mission, colonizing Mars and everything. So
Yeah.
he has kept that big dream of colonizing Mars. But of course, Elon Musk is not that stupid, that he's. I remember in that podcast, what he did was he basically held some sort of a conference, and there were these enthusiasts, who are like fans of Elon Musk and all, had come over there, and he was talking about colonizing Mars, and everybody was taking him so lightly and everything, right? But he's not doing that way, right? He's actually using the resources that he has, the media power that he has. And while listening to that podcast, I think that's a very good this podcast might be a good example to understand how to keep lofty goals and yet achieve and bring them into reality, because he's actually very, very strategic, and he's very go-getter sort of a person. Like, it's so obvious he's such a go-getter. Uh, he just jumps to the opportunity that is there, and whatever is available, he'll make sure that there's a good strategy. There is strategy. He's not doing it just um, like it's not it's a well thought out thing whatever he's doing regarding SpaceX. So I think with these two, maybe I haven't read the book again, but maybe this is what he's trying to say. I'm just giving my
But this
thoughts after
is,
listening to two.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
think.
this is more of changing the reality than submit to reality. है ना? These two are
Well, yeah.
opposite terms.
Well, I think it's maybe not necessarily distorting reality, but I think Harshela brings up a amazing point, which is it's sort of like what Ray Dalio says: be an idealist, but don't be an unconventional one. Meaning, don't reject reality, work with reality. With the Elon Musk example, he could have said, "Okay, I'm going to colonize Mars," and he could have right off the bat, he could have gotten his PhD or whatever and just started a rocket company. But what he decided to do is he dropped out of Stanford, started an internet company, Zip2, sold that to Compact Computers, then went on to do PayPal, merged with another competitor, sold that to eBay, and then he went on to acquire personal wealth. Then he funded Tesla, and then he started SpaceX. And so again, with the point Harshela brings, he had a big dream. Maybe one that was not practical or possible even. But what he did is he, became a conventional idealist where he did not decline reality, but he chose to work with reality. And so that way he was able to make his vision attainable, a vision that could have been seen as impossible. And a lot of experts still treat it like it's impossible, but I personally believe we might as well end up on Mars if we can continue to de- develop the technology we have. If not, then at least it'll be an endeavor we can look at and feel inspired from.
Yeah, I've shared the podcast link, and Business Wars is a really great podcast. I mean, I enjoy listening to it. I've put the link in the chat.
Awesome, yeah. And just for the record, when we have these kind of dialogues where we go back and forth, this is not necessarily an argument, just more of a constructive debate. And I
Yeah, yeah,
think it's amazing because we actually learn from each other. We all read books, we all learn information, and it's wonderful to be able to discuss these things with together because it one teaches us, and second, it helps us with retention. So when we discuss these points, instead of you just going to the summary on Nerdy Joy and reading it, when we discuss it here, it makes sure that we can actually remember this, these lessons. So when all of you go off and start doing something else, you're gonna have these in mind because we've discussed them, we've debated over them, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, awesome. Then let's go to the third chapter, which is absorb the master's power. This is about finding a mentor. So there's only so much you can learn and experience within your lifetime, and without proper guidance, you'll probably waste a lot of that time pursuing knowledge that is already there. And by finding a mentor, you can learn from their experiences, and they'll also be able to direct you to the right path, and they'll save you valuable years. Um, Again, they'll help you focus your attention on the right things, and they will know how to challenge you. A few ways you can find mentors is you can go to communities they are present in, sort of like there's a venture capital um, group on LinkedIn. You could go on there, find people on there, and be like, hey, I want to get funding for my startup. Can you help me? And can you teach me how to do these things? Obviously, you wouldn't say this message. You'd have a well structured message, but by saying those kind of things, you could, yeah. Find a mentor, and then also like attending maybe seminars they're at, and uh, you know, yeah, there are a few options you have. I can't really remember. We did have them in a Nerdy Joy post though. Yeah. Does anyone have anything to add? Any comments, concerns, or questions? Maybe. with the mentor, maybe you might not be able to find a person, but maybe you could even find a book, a biography that can help you. It's sort of like you don't necessarily always have to have a person there to be your mentor. You could also like have read the biography of Elon Musk and have that guide you. So yeah, that's also an option you have. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Is this in this book? Is he talking about how to not get detracted by mentors, because sometimes they might do that.
What did you say? I couldn't
Like
really
in the sense,
understand.
a lot of people give you a lot of advices, right, in life. There's so many people who will come, they say, "Can do this, do that," and everything. Like I again giving the example of the podcast. So Jeff Bezos was talking about, so he was using very weird, he also wants to go to space, right? So he uses very weird techniques, like he talks about creating an elevator. He talks about actually having a catapult sort of a thing to put people into space and everything. And then Elon Musk laughs at him, saying that, you should have it come to me earlier, and I would have told you that this is not going to work. And of course it didn't work with Jeff Bezos, but Jeff seemed, he was like, no, I did not waste my time, I just figured out, was just trying something new and stuff. So they have this conversation, right?
Hmm.
So there are so many people who keep saying things to you, like Elon is also trying to achieve something lofty, but here he's putting somebody else down who's trying, even to someone like Jeff Bezos, right? So when you say absorb master's power, I personally feel, like, at least you should have that a sense, or it's very difficult also to have that sense to understand when to take the advice and when not to take the advice.
Right, yeah. So it's really about being picky with who you choose to actually teach you and give you advice. It's sort of like I personally have mentors, but those guys, I know who they are and I know their qualifications. So I'm like, okay, this person will show me the right path. And I'm like, okay, this person can't. It's sort of like wanting to buy a Lamborghini but taking advice from a Honda owner. It's like their advice is not going to be worth much. In the Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos case, I'd say Jeff Bezos could have still saved some time taking. I feel like the whole thing between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos is very petty, and I feel like if they had a conversation, a dialogue, they could actually work together, and that would increase the progress we make instead of having two guys try to achieve the same thing. If you could combine the reason, I mean, imagine having two billionaires work together to achieve this instead of competing with each other and taking up their resources. Like, frankly, I'm quite, I'd be happier, and I think the world would be much better off having them become allies rather than enemies especially in the space field, because it's like both of them are trying to do great things with space, and if they could help each other and share resources, they'd increase, they'd save some time, especially on a mission that's going to take a lot of effort and time and resources.
So the reason why they do not really work is actually because Jeff, what he wants to do is to put industries in space and make Earth as a residential sort of a place only. Okay, so whatever commercial activity needs to be done will be done in the space, and like all the materials and all will be transported. And I don't know what goal he has, but his ideology is that to make Earth residential space, whatever commercial activity is there, which pollutes Earth or whatever, should be put up in space. While so basically he's Earth centric, like he wants to be on this planet, right? While Elon Musk thinks that in order for humanity to survive, we need to be multiplanetary, and he wants to go to Mars. So Jeff is not able to comprehend as to why will I go to another planet which is not habitable, and spend my resources over there when I can just try to save this particular planet. So they have difference in ideologies actually, which is why
Mhm.
so their resources are being driven in different ways.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I totally understand that, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you. Like they should find a middle ground, and because there's so much of money being spent on these missions, right?
yeah.
And I think a lot. Jeff is a much better executionist when it comes to if compared.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think they don't necessarily have to like fund each other or even form an alliance, but I think like even just sharing knowledge, like the SpaceX has been great at building machines for cheaper and saving a ton of money. So it's like if they could even just share that knowledge with Blue Origin, it's like why not just help them save time? We're trying to. Yes, they don't have the same mission. Yes, maybe both of them think their missions are absurd, but it's like, okay, but why not just coexist peacefully? I know it's a utopian idea, and I know it's probably not going to happen, not just with Bezos and Musk, but also with humanity in general. You can't just say, oh, I wish the United States and the Soviet Union would coexist peacefully and not get into an ideological war. It's like we as humans are rational, and I get that, but it's like it'd be better if we could at least, especially some of the smartest minds on our planet, if they could be just a bit more rational with the decisions they make.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed.
Although there is a different side to it, which is like, what if the competition speeds up the progress? You know how the competition between the United States and the USSR, it made space travel more possible because each side was rallying their countries to beat the other side. So it's like when they made each other the antagonists and they were like, we got to go to space first. No, we're gonna go to moon first. It started the space race, and humanity benefited from that. Now Russia and the United States work together and cooperate in space missions, so it could end up good. We don't know. History will tell us how it turns out. We could have a billionaire space war, though. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can move on to chapter 4 if no one has anything else to say. All right. Um, I guess no one else has anything to add to this. Then let's go on to chapter 4. Chapter 4 is see people as they are, which is most people get exhausted in their pursuit of success due to the manipulative and resistant behavior of the people around them. Um, they're not able to understand people effectively and understand what motivates them. I see this a lot with the people around me. They get exhausted by trying to manage people, and they can't see through them, so it's like they get exhausted in dealing with people generally, especially in their careers. And so that's why social intelligence is important. And they also called what was it, EQ, emotional, and yeah, I think it was emotional intelligence, EI. Anyway, so it's like if you have social intelligence, you'll have the ability to read people and the ability to see their intentions and motives. And having social intelligence in your pursuit of success will help you save time, save valuable time that you would have otherwise spent on being emotionally drained by other people and their motives. So you'll be able to see their cynical moves and be like, okay, I'll prepare myself for this. On the other hand, if you don't have that social intelligence, you'll just get drained emotionally by their manipulative moves and ulterior motives. So yeah, social intelligence is the process of approaching something more realistically. It involves focusing our attention outward instead of inward, developing the observational and empathetic skills that we all have naturally. So really, just again cultivating empathy, which we do have quite a few lessons on Nerdy Joy. So you can always check them out. They're pretty helpful. And it means moving past our tendencies to idolize and demonize people. So again, just seeing them as who they are, and accepting them. Right? Not trying to change them, not trying to, yeah, just like understanding and accepting them. And also, in order to be socially effective, you have to understand people, and to understand them, you have to get it outside of yourself and immerse your mind in the world. So just like stop thinking about you and how you would act, right? Because the world doesn't work that way. So yeah, does anyone have anything they want to add?
No, I guess this is pretty straightforward. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty straightforward. Um, Maybe everyone could give how do you think we can develop social intelligence, or do you have any maybe tips you have to develop empathy in life generally? So no, all right. I'm guessing not, right? Okay. Well, um, let's move on to chapter 5 then, which is Awaken the Dimensional Mind. So, after developing new skill and accumulating information about your field to gain experience, your mind will have the desire to be more active and pursue new opportunities. Your mind will want to utilize the new knowledge that you've just gained. And unfortunately, most people will not utilize that knowledge and those skills because because they think they're incompetent and their attitudes are wrong. And most people feel afraid and want to fit in with a group instead of pursuing new opportunities and being bold. Back to the Elon Musk thing, Elon Musk example. While Elon Musk's peers were getting jobs, he dropped out of Stanford. Yeah, I believe he was doing his master's or PhD in Stanford. I can't remember which. And then he just kind of just dropped out and started an internet company because he thought there was a massive opportunity there. So he capitalized on that opportunity and used all the education he had with computer science towards that and economics with that. Um, so yeah, as stated, start expanding your knowledge. Your mind will be, and once you do so, your mind will be able to look at things from different dimensions and develop new ideas more effectively. So um, yeah, you learn how to utilize your knowledge and stand out from the crowd. This is also pretty straightforward. Anything to add? Okay, I'm guessing not, right?
so how does one really try to utilize? Because even I read a lot, and sometimes I might not be able to put that in practice. Is that what is this chapter trying to say as such?
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's talking about how you should not be afraid to utilize the knowledge you gain, since your brain's gonna, or your attitude's gonna try to push you towards following the crowd, and it'll be afraid to be bold. And then to your point about utilizing knowledge, I'm not sure what kind of books you necessarily read, but I think every knowledge has some point in your life where you can use them. It's generally going to help you find new opportunities, though. And Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, a great, or I think it was Think and Grow Rich. I'm not sure which one, but it stated that gold is everywhere, right? Everywhere has gold, but it is only the people that are trained to see them can see that gold and actually capitalize on it. So if you can continue to learn and utilize that knowledge somewhere in your life, then you'll be able to awaken a dimensional mind and you'll become a master in your field, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Harshela?
No, because actually most of the time I'm not afraid of using knowledge or something. I'm more of it might not really come to my mind or something at that point. Like how
Mm-hmm.
it happens on exams, I guess.
Ah, I see. Yeah, with that, that's like another topic to discuss. But I'll give you a recommendation on that. Um, we on Nerdy Joy, I'm not sure if you've seen, but we have these reflect things called reflection forms. So you don't have to. I'm not sure if you actually started using Nerdy Joy and learning from us, um, but even if you don't, here's my recommendation: reflect on whatever you learn. So like, do a quick review of it. Maybe if you have a diary or notebook. Um, get that out. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Please give me a minute. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call, so I had to like answer. Anyway, um, right. So, Harshella, I was recommending the review. So, I don't know if you have like a diary or a notebook you keep notes in, but what my recommendation is, take a piece of paper or even open a Google Doc and just review the information you've learned, and try to do that for a few days. On like Nerdy Joy, we make our users review the information they learn, so they can actually effectively retain it. And then also another recommendation I have is whenever after you write the reflection and everything, try to maybe call a friend and discuss the thing, or maybe even I know you host a lot of rooms on Merrative, so host a room on Merrative or talk to people that love discussing the thing you've learned. And so doing those two things, they'll actually increase your retention, and you'll be able to recall them more easily. So yeah, yeah, that's my 2 cents on it, and that is what neuroscience tells us about retaining information. So reviewing and reflecting. Reflecting is also done a lot in IB, which is an international education program. What they do is, students will be given a summative assignment where it's like they create a project about what they learn, and then they'll reflect on it, right? And that helps them learn and review what they have done. So those are some of the things, and that's like why we've actually built Nerdy Joy, and that's one of the specialties we have, where it's like we make sure you can effectively retain the information you learn. So it's like whether it's with the reflection forms, and the forms will be sent to your email. So it's like you'll be able to open the email and review it any time of the day. And it's like, oh, okay, so I learned this and I took these notes. Let me then go on to use them in this situation. Or if you have to recall them, you can recall it from your reflection notes or from the email we send you on Nerdy Joy. So yeah, and also just discussing them, they're going to both increase your retention. You're going to be able to recall them.
Okay, okay.
All right, awesome. um does anyone else have any questions or concerns, anything to add?
I think I will try to read a book first. Got a lot of idea about it.
Mhm.
We can have like things to discuss. I think there is a lot to discuss, but we'll do it later.
Definitely, yeah. And as mentioned, Nerdy Joy does have a community where you can engage in these discussions too. We have a subreddit, so you can like create your own threads there. We've also partnered with Merrative to create these kind of smaller groups to discuss these. So again, we always announce our Merrative discussions, and Merrative also does them on their social media. So feel free to always follow up. And if you do have something you want to discuss and you want us to hold a session on it as the Nerdy Joy team, even if I can't be there, someone from the team will host it. So just email the email I sent in the chat, and we can host that room. But yeah, feel free to also jump on our community forums and
Yeah,
discuss them.
definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else or any questions, concerns?
No, I'd like to, as this person said, we'll come to you again after this book is done, because I'd like to know a little bit more about Nerdy Joy.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Once we end the session, we can talk about it. All right. Would
Yeah,
that be
yeah, yeah.
all right?
Once
Awesome.
we are done. Yes.
Yeah. We only have one more chapter to go, so that's not
Okay.
very far away. All right.
Okay, we're almost done. Okay, fine.
Awesome. Yeah. So chapter 6, fuse the intuitive. If you continue to pursue your purpose in life with great passion and determination, you will develop a natural intuition for solving complex problems in your field, and the intuition you develop will help you attain great intelligence, solve problems, and develop new ideas with ease. The only thing you must do is pursue your purpose to its limits. Just like what Elon Musk does. Be a go-getter person. You see an opportunity, capitalize on it. Just go for it, pursue it, and push the limits. Ray Dalio, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, these outliers, these successful billionaires. What they all do is they push the limits. And yes, they fail a lot. They fail greatly. But what they do is they develop intuition. They're now, after having 3 rockets explode, after being fired from 2 of his companies, after having almost 2 of his companies go bankrupt, Elon Musk now has the ability to solve any problem, solve complex problems. He has intuition for his field, and people look up to him. So it's like, just push those limits and you'll become intuitive in that field, and you'll get to a point where those problems won't frustrate you anymore. And does anyone have anything to add to this?
Yeah, is it like it's you've got to go behind that, with a focus and, as you said, a purpose,
Hmm.
which makes you achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Is that it, what you're trying to say?
Well, the point of this chapter is just to say that once you push
Hmm.
your purpose to the limits, and
Hmm.
once you gain enough experience and knowledge, you'll now have like intuition that'll help you solve complex problems and have great intelligence in that field, and it'll
Hmm.
also help you develop new ideas.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. Does anyone else have anything to add? I'm guessing that's a no. All right. Well, um, if in that case, thank you so much for attending this event, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you joining this, and I hope in the future all of you can join our other discussions. Because we're going to be hosting one every week. Um, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it. Feel free to check out Nerdy Joy, register, and join the community. Our mission is to help you build a better life and attain all of your goals. So if we can do that, it'll be amazing. And also feel free to email me at berk@nerdyjoy.com if you have any questions or suggestions. Yeah, I believe someone had a question about Nerdyjoy, so I'd love to answer it right now. I wasn't able to see who had the question, but they can come forward and I can answer the question.
Samina had, yeah.
Okay,
Samina had.
all right, Samina. What was your question?
Yeah, I wanted to know about Nerdy Joy. That I mean, is it about? Um, I don't know what the your this thing is about, reading, or is it about storytelling, or what is it about?
Right. So, Nerdy Joy provides impactful lessons from nonfiction books. Um,
Okay.
in short, easy to understand and entertaining content or lessons. We also help you monetize, knowledge you gain from nonfiction books, and we also have a community that will help you achieve your goals and discuss productive topics.
Oh, lovely. So I think I'll discuss with Harshila and get back to you, because she knows I've written quite a few books.
Hmm.
So Harshala, what do you think of this?
Yeah, you can connect with Burke. I think he's into non-fiction. So if you've written non-fiction, then you should definitely
Yeah,
connect with him.
yeah, I've written non-fiction, right? So,
Mhm.
can you just send me your email, or I take it from Harshala and I will
Yeah, he
forward.
has put it on chat, I think. I'll
Ha,
Yeah,
send it to you on WhatsApp also, his email.
please, yes,
Okay,
I'll
I'll do that.
I'll
yeah,
also send my LinkedIn in the chat so we can connect
okay.
on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, you can also write, you can also write lessons on Nerdy Joy. You can teach lessons from your nonfiction books. You can gain exposure. You can sell them there. Not sell them, but give exposure to your books. We also provide various monetizing opportunities, so you'll be able to actually learn money from the posts you put on Nerdy Joy. So yeah, let me know if you'd be interested in that, and I'll send you a link.
Yeah, sure. I'd be interested because, as I told you, I've written all this. I'm also writing storybooks for children. One is going into the audio, this thing, and I'm doing a storytelling session next week for a group. There are about 50 or more people, and the storytelling thing is not actually to tell a story, but first with the introduction group, I'll take up like what is why stories are important, beneficial importance and all that. And not only for children, it's going to be for children and adults. I'll cover up the entire gamut, and then I will narrow it down to a children's group separately and an adult group separately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
Samina, I also sent
yeah.
the link to
Mm.
become a content creator. So all the information
Oh, oh.
about becoming content creator is there, and the rewards you'll get. Again, if you do choose to teach a lesson from one of your nonfiction books, you can include a link, and so our members, if they are interested, they'll go on and buy your book too. Since we have a very active community that loves anything that improves them. So, you can also promote them there. And if you do want to learn more from these kind of books, we have lessons on Nerdy Joy that has been created by our content creators. So feel free to check
Oh,
them out.
wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and you can also join our subreddit to become a member of the community. And
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, sure. In fact, just one sentence I'll put up before everyone gets late. That is, Nerdy Joy reminds me of Noddy books. And I used to read a lot of them when I was a child. And I think when you just kept saying Noddy Joy, I kept remembering Noddy and his, other pranks which he used to play.
yeah.
And so I was just thinking, can I write who's Nodi? I'll find out from their website or whatever, or getting in touch with you. And then I'll take it up from there and could weave out a story for that character, if it's a character or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you actually have the option to write stories on Nerdy Joy. So, like, what
Mm,
you can do is you can take a lesson from your nonfiction books. We allow 1 to 5 lessons to be taught in one post. So, what you can do is when you're
mm.
creating like one post, you can take a lesson from your nonfiction book and actually teach it in a fictional story. So you can like develop your own character and
Ah,
everything, and like
oh, wow.
storytelling. I think
Yeah.
we'd really benefit from having you in the Nerdjoy community because you're a very awesome individual and you're very wise. So I think, and we have a lot of students and young folks, like
Mm.
18, 13, 14, even 15, 16. So, people there could really learn from you, Samina. I mean, it's very nice to meet you too.
Yeah, same. I'm so happy I attended this, and I needed to talk to Harshala also for the last 2 days, but she's not getting time. I had written to her that Harshala, I need to connect with you. Anyway, I'll connect with her and with you, and we'll take it on from here.
Yeah, I mean, Harshal is also an awesome person.
She's an awesome person. Yes,
Yeah,
that.
she's very
Mm.
wise, and
The
I
less I know of her, the more I am intrigued by her personal quest. And
Yeah.
I wish I had met her earlier, but it's never too late. And age is not a factor, but I think if I was like this in my earlier years, I never met anyone like this because everybody thought I was too knowledgeable. And so my friends never connected more with me. They only wanted to, of course, I laugh also a lot. It's not that I don't laugh and make fun, but they thought me to be the serious one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm 14, so
Huh,
so
you are?
yes, I actually am. So,
Okay.
I think I'd probably be the youngest one here,
You're the youngest. Yeah, really. So
but
I
I
could hold workshops for teenagers.
yeah, I mean, Harshal and Merrative, Merrative as a platform is also amazing. And I've told this to Harshella, but it has immense potential. This could
Yes.
become a tech unicorn. And I told her how much I love this platform because it's like, one, I get to connect with amazing individuals like you and learn from you people. And it's also like, we get to have these kind of productive discussions and,
Discussions, yeah. Hmm.
hopefully go on to the real world and make the world a better place. So it's like it's a
Really, it's
great
superb.
platform
I don't know
overall.
why, if she and me can do a lot together. I'll connect with her after our thing is over, and let's see what we can do. And of course, with Nerdy Joy too.
Yeah,
That's an exciting proposition that you gave me.
Sure. Thank you so much, guys.
thank you.
I'll surely connect with you as well, Samina. Sorry for not being available.
Ah,
Um,
no, no
we were
problem.
having this fest, so was caught up with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Burke, for all the amazing words, and to Samina as well. So thank you again for joining.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, definitely. It was a great session, and I'll see all of you in our next session. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful.
Sure. Bye. Yeah.